Okay, it's incredibly bright out here, so it's kind of hard. I can't really see the phone screen at all, but going over the start procedure of a 1987 Comp TS6M. So my old boat did not have the original dashboard, so you may have custom or retrofit or hack together. If I'm not mistaken, this is all original. 281. I got a rebuilt engine and a rebuilt floor in this one before I bought it. So I got key, main power, accessory power, bilge, which I actually still need to get going, lights, blowers, horn, and then this one isolates the cigarette lighter, which still works, still charges phones. It's amazing. All the gauges are working. I have one of the speedometers plugged because the hose was broke off on the unit on the back of the boat. So basically I do main power. Oh, I already had the blower going. So this is the disconnect. It clicks into a choke position. That's neutral. So that click will engage the drive if this button is pushed in, but if this is pulled out, then you can click it and you can rev it, but it won't let you rev it that high because the knob hits it, because you're not supposed to sit there and just burn it up at the dock like a moron. So cold start, disengage the knob first, and yes, this is like the safety on a gun, because there is no lock, there is no button, there is nothing on here. So if you bump this with your elbow or your knee, or if you fall over, this boat is going 0 to 30 miles an hour in the next 7 seconds, and you are not going to catch it. So this is the most important feature of this boat, to actually pull it out. So for a cold start, pull that out, get your main power. Do I need to turn the key for the blower? No. So I need to turn the main power on, otherwise it beeps. If the key's on, it'll beep for the amps or something. So you're supposed to run the blower. It's breezy. You can pop the hood a little bit, but gas fumes settle in the bottom of the boat. So especially when it's a cool morning, if the boat's been sitting overnight, you will catch on fire or explode. So the blower is no joke. This disconnect and this blower, but got the hood vents up there. It's pulling the fumes through the hump. If your blower works too good though, it'll have a hard time starting because it'll create a vacuum under the hump. So pop your hood a few inches, put something in there that won't get caught in the straps. It's another really, everybody wants to party in these boats, but that is that will take your arm or your finger or anything right off. If a rope or a necklace or a lanyard or something gets in that, you are done, or wish you were. So don't mess around with that, with all the straps and everything. Make sure no ropes get in there. And same thing with the prop. This thing would take your arm straight off if a rope coils around the prop, and then it'll suck it up into the rotating part, or the sleeve, and you have to take the whole drive shaft out. So that happened to some friends, and I guess it was no fun. So blower runs while you monologue, and then I shut the blower off. It's warm, so I'm going to leave it here. If it was cold, I'd push it here and then crank, but I'm leaving the throttle. And this boat fires first catch. The motor was rebuilt in 15 after the floor, stringers, and carpet was done in 14. I don't have a receipt for the interior, but it's in excellent shape. So now that the boat's going, if it was cold, I'd be leaving it in the choke, I'd be leaving it in the forward position for a few minutes while it's warming up at the dock. But I'm already up to temp, got the 143 degree T-stat that I just put in there. Another common question is PSI, but it's really important to note that a lot of these just have after a certain year, they just have the electric sending unit that doesn't really give you, I was actually going to put a hydraulic with a copper pressure line on the other one. I still have it sitting at home, but I sold the boat, so I might switch over to that. because around 80, in the cars at least, they switched over to, it's just a dummy switch. So even though there's a gauge, it is not actually telling you PSI, it's telling you the electrical current. And if you have corrosion or whatever, that can be whack. But apparently these engines really only need to run at 10 PSI per 1,000 RPM. So if you're idling at 1,000 and your engine is hot on a hot day and you have 10 PSI at idle, your engine is not fucked. Don't go running ultra thick oil through them, because then it won't get up to oil the top end. You know, water and air temperature has a big effect on these boats, because it's running the cool water in. You can have a lot of humidity, but this one reads right about 40. After it's really warmed up, it'll drop down, you know, closer to like 20 or whatever. But even if you have as low as 10 PSI at idle, you should be fine, because but then if you have 40 at 4,000, you're doing great. But don't go running fucking, I was told to run 15W40 by a Supra dealer that I called, and they told me 15W40, so I just ran the Rotella T, which is the same thing I put in my Power Stroke diesel, my 7.3 diesel. So, that is the starting procedure. And then now that it's up, it's warm, our accessory switch is on. This doesn't, oh, I guess it does have to be on. Okay, I'm still learning this boat. It'll start with this put in, you know, so I believe there is a neutral lock, so it shouldn't start in gear. But yeah, now we just go. They always steer a little hard in certain directions, especially if you really crank it. Like when you're going slow, you're actually trying to turn it against the action of the prop, you know, against the force of the prop. So of the Stevens Point flowage of the Wisconsin River, right in central Wisconsin. And I live just over those trees, like kind of to the right of the radio tower, like just across those trees, about 2 blocks from the boat landing. But I mean, with the chop, like that's about as smooth as this is gonna get probably. Unless I replace the prop or have it professionally ground. Oil's good, temp is good, charge good. Overheating will kill these engines, so you know, you don't get to watch it pissing like an outboard motor, so you need to really keep an eye on your temp gauge, make sure it works. When I park, I'll even stop and like feel the headers. You know, I'll pop the hood open after it cools down a little bit, or what, you know, just make sure that everything, it's gonna feel really hot in there. Because it's a small block Ford V8. But you can kind of tell like if it's too hot. So anyways, thanks for listening. Enjoy your day, and that's boats.